What's up guys, Dan here. Hope you guys are doing absolutely amazing today. Don't click off the video. I know this video is gonna be about books. I know not a lot of people actually read books. In fact, the majority of people, I think the reason why they live poor and miserable lives is because they don't read any books and because they think that, learning stops after high school, learning stops after college, which is like, the biggest mistake that you can possibly make. So don't click off this video. Don't be that person. All right, so you're still with me. Okay, awesome. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about one of the things that has completely changed my life and influenced my entrepreneurship journey very, very heavily, especially at the beginning. That's why I think this will be so valuable to you guys who are just starting out in entrepreneurship, in online entrepreneurship, in passive income, and in trying to change your life and trying to better your life. And the thing that has got me on this journey in the first place was books, reading entrepreneurship books. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the top 5, actually like the top 7 or 8 entrepreneurship books that have completely changed my life and that will completely change your life, I guarantee it as well. Please do yourself a favor and read these books. Go and buy them, go to the library, whatever you have to do. They're on Amazon, I don't have any links or anything like that. Just go on Amazon, find these books, they're there, trust me. They will, each one of these books you'll pay like $10 or $20. They will make you back 100,000 times what you actually spent on them. So I know that with passive income and the videos that I make on my channel, most people just want to know how to actually make the money, and I completely understand that. But what I want you guys to understand is that even if you do make the money, which I'm sure you will, you need to have the mindset. It's like a person winning the lottery. You see the people that win the lottery and then they tend to lose all their money because they don't know how to manage it. They don't have the mindset. They don't know how to take their money and grow it, right? So, they just have the consumer, spender, poor person's mentality. They win the lottery and then they just go and spend it all, right? So the same thing with entrepreneurship. If you actually go and hit it, and let's say you find a great product on Amazon, it's selling well, or any other online income stream, but you don't have the mindset, you're just doing things for the short term. You're not trying to, you're not actually trying to change your life for a long time. You're just kind of like making, you haven't really made the step above making a side income, which is what I want you guys to understand, that every single person watching this video can actually, make this their whole life and make this their living, can actually make this their whole career, and can actually completely change their lives with online entrepreneurship and making money online. So anyway, please do yourself a favor and buy these books, read them at least once. Trust me, they will totally change your life, all right? These are just some of the books that I read and that I recommend. And these books specifically are about thinking big and eliminating, the small people, the small-minded kind of like thinking, because you really need to start thinking big. You need to start thinking above your capabilities and above what you think you can do, because you can actually do like 100 million times more than you think, all right? So let's get started. So the very first book, and I'm starting with this book, is because this is like the foundational book of, toward financial freedom, of passive income, and it's Rich Dad Poor Dad, right here. So it's written by Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad: What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and the Middle Class Do Not. So it's, it's pretty short. Basically a friend recommended this to me like, I think 2 years ago, and I read this and I was so blown away because this book just goes against everything that, I was taught my whole life. Basically, it's about this dude, and he grew up in Hawaii and basically had 2 dads. His actual dad, who was like a teacher, a professor in university, and basically taught him to, get a job, go to college, save, and then work till death, basically, and then retire with a nice retirement, and then retire. But he talks about his other dad, which is his friend's dad. He just calls him his other dad. And basically that, the other dad taught him how to actually get rich and how to become financially free, and how to set up your life so that you never have to worry about money, you have freedom, and basically to get rich and to become a millionaire. So he listened to his rich dad, and it made all the difference. So truly inspirational book. This is the book I think that started it all, that started the whole financial freedom movement. It was written a while ago, but highly recommend it. If you haven't read any books, Rich Dad Poor Dad is the one to start. All right, so the second book that I recommend is The Magic of Thinking Big. This one is amazing. It's fantastic. I read this one a couple months ago, and please, read this book. It is so good. This book is just, every single page is filled with pure wisdom and things that will just literally just propel you up. Okay, and another thing that I want to actually mention in this video is a lot of people, talk about mentors and, how do you meet like-minded people? Well, obviously it's hard because, in our world, people are kind of closed off, and, you don't really know where to meet these kinds of people. You don't really know where to meet mentors. Books are the best way to, keep the dream alive in your head, especially when you're starting out. You're at maybe a difficult point in your life. If you start reading books, you'll start to realize that, hey, there's a whole other life out there and a whole other world out there for me. And you kind of, get these authors and these books as like mentors for you. These books I would say 80% of the mentors that I've had in my life were books, and that's just how it is. We live in an internet age, right? And I think that more and more mentoring actually happens through information. So through books, maybe through courses and things like that. So basically with this book, it teaches you to think big. And basically the whole premise is that, people set goals that are way too small. So, most people want to make 6 figures a year from a job and retire, right? When in actuality, if they gave themselves a goal of 1 million, but not in a job and passive income, let's say a year, it would actually take the same amount of effort. So people just don't realize that. So that's, this book, absolutely great, absolutely amazing, will teach you how to really think big and how to achieve anything you want. All right, so the third book is Think and Grow Rich. This book, if you haven't read any other book, like let's say you were dropped in the desert and this is the only book that you were given, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is like the only book you'll ever need. Like, if I had no other books, this is the book. Like, basically it's a study on how what you think actually manifests in your life. So it's basically the law of attraction. And this is what actually introduced it to me. And at first I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, really? Like, what you think, like that brings into your life. And then I realized people like Conor McGregor, the MMA fighter, he did it. He read this book. He read The Key to Living the Law of Attraction. And so many other successful people have gotten what they got through thinking it first, believing that they can do it, and then actually going and getting it. So this book is just, every single page is just pure wisdom, and it will propel you. Like if you read this book, you will be like, wow, I can literally, do anything I want. If you want $100 million, you can get it. If you want to have a multi-billion-dollar startup, you can get it. If you want to have an amazing passive income business that lets you, be at the beach and not have to work, you can do it. Anything you want, you can get it. So Napoleon Hill is one of my favorites, and this is probably his greatest book. So Think and Grow Rich, highly recommend it. And it's just extremely powerful step. I guarantee that if you read this book, and it really makes an impact on you, because maybe it won't make an impact on everybody, but if it really makes an impact on you specifically, I can virtually guarantee you will see abundance, wealth in relationships and in finance and just in everything in your life. So the next book is The One Thing. So this book is by Gary Keller. And Gary Keller is the founder and chairman of the Keller Williams Real Estate Company, which is I think the #1 real estate brokerage in the United States, I think, don't quote me on that. But basically, it talks about how, the whole entrepreneurship thing, people think that, especially entrepreneurs, they think that, they have to get all this stuff done all the time. And they have to always, rush from thing to thing, and they think that they have a million things to do. But in reality, what this book tells you is that you only have a couple things that you need to do consistently every day to get to your goal. So it really goes deep into how to work less and basically get a lot more of a result, right? And who doesn't want that, right? It also teaches you other fundamental success principles like thinking big as well. So basically, Gary Keller talks about how he thought, initially he had a huge desire, for his brokerage, and he basically did it. He accomplished it. It became the #1 real estate company in the United States. So highly recommend this book, and looks great on a bookshelf as well. So yeah, check this one out. So an example of The One Thing. So it's basically the Pareto Principle. So if you don't know what the Pareto Principle is, very simple. 80% of your work will only get you to 20% of your results, and 80% of your results will actually come from 20% of your work. So this book teaches you how to drill down and really focus on the 20% that will get you the 80%. So for example, for me, my 20% that will give me the 80% is making videos and working on my Amazon business. Just as an example, those are the two things for me. So the next book is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. So I actually read this one. I was on a road trip in Montana or something, and last summer I was just I think in the mountains or somewhere in the forest in Glacier National Park, and I just took this one out and I started reading it, and I was just blown away. This book goes so deep into people's paradigms, into how people think, and how that actually influences completely the direction of their lives. So, and it talks about obviously the mentality of the 99% and the mentality of the 1%, how to succeed, how to get anything you want, and it's just amazing. It's pretty big, but I highly recommend this book. Highly recommend it. Now, this is the last book right here that I recommend, and this one is called Unscripted, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Entrepreneurship. This one's written by MJ Demarco. So MJ Demarco is one of my favorite authors, and basically in this book, it was released in 2017, he talks about how, life isn't just about paying bills, working for a weekend, and then dying, as he says right here. right? So he talks about how to step away from mediocrity and how to really, become a part of the elite and become a part of the super wealthy, and how to get rich basically, and how to have freedom in your life, because money isn't just to make money, it's to have freedom to buy things, have freedom to travel, have freedom to do whatever you want to do, have freedom to, live the life that you want basically. Now, the last book that I'm going to recommend, and this one is more controversial, but trust me, I think that every single person that reads this is going to have a profound change in their life, and they're going to realize, how things work in life, what causes failure, what causes success. And it's by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. And it sounds like a scary title. It's The Secrets of Freedom and Success. And basically, in the book, it's kind of like Napoleon Hill. He has an interview with the devil, like quote unquote, and he basically asks like the devil, like, what's the cause of failure? How do people fail? What are the reasons for failure? And basically in the whole book, the reason for failure is exposed as drifting. And what that means is, the reason that people fail is because they just drift through life. They have no idea where they're going. It's kind of like getting in a car and having no destination. So you just drive around in circles and figure eights. And that's what people do. They just go in figure eights throughout their life. So this book talks about how you always have to have goals, and you always have to know what you're doing and where you're going. You always have to decide like, okay, I can do anything I want, but I have to decide what it is that I want, or life is just going to give you a random result, right? And nobody wants a random result, right? Why? When you can literally write out like a Christmas list of what you want, and you can get every single thing on it. So highly recommend this book. It's even written in a kind of like conspiracy way, because obviously stuff like this, exposed, it's very much against the 99%. And if more people read this book, they'd realize that, all they would have to do is just decide and have a plan for their life. Like, all you have to do is just commit to one thing and just go at it with tunnel vision, and people just can't do that. They kind of just drift through life. It's kind of like, those people that they take on a temporary job and they're like, oh, I'm only gonna have it for 6 months. 10 years later, they're still working at that temporary job. And, it's just so sad to see. It's human potential that's completely ruined. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please go ahead and buy these books or get a hold of them somehow on Amazon or whatever. I highly recommend them. These books are the books. These are just some of the books that have completely changed my life and have resulted to me basically going from zero, completely broke, in student debt, trapped in a 9-to-5 job, to 7 figures a year in literally under like 1 year, just under 1 year. And it's because I just took such, I read these books and I understood what was going on, and I understood how to get what you want. And that's why I want to spread this message, and that's why I want you guys to know that you can do it too. You can do it too. There's nothing stopping you. You can get anything you want. So if you guys are into passive income, things like Amazon FBA, Shopify, affiliate marketing, anything like that, and just living your dream life and fulfilling your potential through online business and passive income, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Reach out to me on social media, Snapchat and Instagram. I answer everybody. Go ahead, reach out, and I'll see you guys soon. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.